What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base Damage. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. We're continuing along the quintessential quintuplets decks. This time going over my personal favorite, Ichika. And yeah, I did a couple different things than what I've been used to. For one, obviously the first thing I'm going to point out is going to be we are not running the level 3 early play Ichika. The one it's like the one that people were using in like the Nino builds. It's like $10 or so at the time of recording this, so we're going to be avoiding that one altogether because the rest of the cards in here are extremely budget, and we'll talk price point more later, as well as a couple other things I want to point out. But let's just go ahead and get right into the deck profile. No more dilly dallying. Let's start with the first level 3. This 3/2/8/5 Quintuplicate Trails Ichika Nakano. This is a very fun card. If you have 4 or more other characters with Ichika in their card names, this gets minus a level in hand. The whole deck's Ichika. This is a no-brainer. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, you can discard one card. If you do, choose up to one climax with a choice trigger icon in your waiting room, return it to your hand. And both the climax combos in here are choice triggers. You basically can grab them on demand, so that's really cool. And if you do, return it to your hand, and then you reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a character with Ichika in its card name, add it to your hand. So essentially completely replaces both cards that get expended from hand, both playing this card, then discarding the card for the cost. You get back 2 cards more than likely, because unless you reveal another choice trigger, it doesn't matter. Then when this card attacks, if you have 4 or more other characters with Ichika in their name, choose one of your characters, and it gets 3,000 power till end of turn. So this is a really good card. It's a rare. It's like very, very cheap. I feel this is a no-brainer because the next card we're going to talk about, the next 2 level 3s are both of the climax combos for the deck. I didn't want to run the level 1s or anything for the climax combos. One of my continuing issues with a lot of the quintuplets level 1 engines, outside of like 1 or 2, are the fact of they're usually really good offensively, but then not that good defensively. There are exceptions, but most of them do not have defense in any shape, form, or fashion. This kind of fixes that, because I found this card and I was like, oh, this is actually very doable. So this one is your plussing engine for the deck. This 3/2/10K in school uniform Ichika Nakano. If Pure Wish Ichika Nakano is in your clock, this gets -1 level in hand, which is this particular level 0 right here. So you just have to have this in your clock, which is really fucking easy. When this card attacks, if Intensifying Love, which is a choice trigger, is in your climax area, and you have a full field of quintuplet characters, search your deck for up to 2 quintuplet characters. One of them goes to your hand, the other goes to your stock, and then this card gets 3,000 power till end of turn. Making this, with the climax combo alone, this becomes a 14,000, which is going to get over a lot of stuff. So she gets very big in that regard, but then even on the defense side, she's still a 10k base before anything else, which is really nice. And then her last effect, this is outside of climax combo effects. When the character facing this card attacks, you can pay 1 stock, and if you do, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 2 cards from them, put into your waiting room. Put the rest on top of your deck in any order. You build up extra stock anyway, so it kind of pays for itself. Both from the combo and on attack, you end up getting 2 stock. So if you're able to do that, you're able to pay for this no problem. You basically do the effect, look at the top 2, and if neither of them are climaxes, you pitch them to the waiting room and don't give a shit. So 9 times out of 10, that's what you're going to do. So that is very, very cool. This has actually been very fun to test play out and use. I've been told that there are some people actually running this now, like just kind of a few niche cases. But this is really cool because even though there's a lot of other cards in here that are Ichika dependent, this is not Ichika dependent. Other than having the Ichika level 0 in your clock, it doesn't say if you have a full field of Ichika. It just says quintuplet. So it's not limited to that. So you can use this as an engine in basically any deck, which is really cool. The next climax combo is from the movie set, the 3/2/10K Irrepressible Feelings Ichika Nakano. I've had to record that several times. First off, this was really good because on play, heal 1. There we go. Just really good to have a healer. When this card attacks, if the other choice trigger, Bold Answer Checking Method, is in your climax area, and you have 2 or more other quintuplets, you can discard 1 card. If you do, this it gets an ability until end of turn, up to once per turn when damage dealt by this card is cancelled. You choose X cards in your opponent's waiting room, return them to the deck, your opponent shuffles their deck, and then you burn them for that same amount. X is equal to the number of other quintuplet characters you have. So, with a full field, you get to shuffle 4 cards back in and then try to burn them for 4, if they were to cancel. The thing is, you have to pay the cost on attack, but it's such a cheap cost. I don't care. Like, this is still pretty good to have, and you can also kind of control how much burn you're doing. You just have to have 2 or more other quintuplets, meaning just 3 characters in center stage means you're going to only be burning for 2 if you need to burn exact game or anything of that nature. You can get those numbers very easily off of the cancel burn. So this is really cool, and you can, like I said, you can adjust your numbers accordingly. Really nice. I've actually very much liked this. That is it for the level 3s, just 4 copies of everything. Then of all the 3s we discussed, and then 3 copies of this 2/1/6/5 Making Curry Ichika Nakano. During your turn, she gets 1500 power for each of your other Quints characters, making her a 12/5 with a full field. When your climax with a choice trigger is placed in your climax area, look at the top card of your deck, put it on top or into your waiting room, and then this gets the ability until end of turn. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you may put the top card of your deck into your stock. A little bit extra stock production. Not super necessary, but she gets, like, really, really fucking big. If you aren't able to... This is basically kind of the backup strat if you aren't able to get, like, enough copies of this out onto the field for your level 2 game. Because this is going to be bigger than what this can get. So, the level 3 gets way bigger off the climax combo than this will. So it's just, you can get to similar numbers if you play a choice trigger, meaning you'll get an extra 1,000. She'll be at 13/5, which is still very respectable, don't get me wrong. But in terms of, you want this if you can, but that means you can use this if you trigger any of the choice triggers. You can grab these from your waiting room and toss them into your stock. So that's pretty cool. Next is this 2/1 2500 backup overnight study session Ichika. 2500 backup, and when you use the backup, you can pitch any 2 cards from your hand to choose one of your opponent's characters with a level higher than their level and put it into their waiting room. So anti-change, always good, gotta have it. That is it for the 2s. Getting to the level 1s. This 1/1/5K Reminiscing Ichika Nakano. If all of your characters have Ichika, which that's gonna be it. This gets 1500 power, making it a 6/5 base, and gains 2 abilities. 1, Character Encore, really nice, and when this card attacks, you can pay 1 stock. If you do, during this attack, perform trigger check twice. That is typically referred to as Twin Drive, which is copying the name of a mechanic from Vanguard, but the Weiss community typically just calls it Twin Drive. I've not really been a big fan of Twin Drive, but in this deck, I've actually really, really liked it. I was like, you know what, I'm going to go outside of my comfort zone and purposely try to run more cards that have Twin Drive, because there's several Ichikas that have it, and it's just really good overall. So, and then its last effect is when your character's trigger check reveals a climax with a choice trigger in its trigger icon. This gets an extra 3k power for the turn, making it, as long as 1 triggers, it's a 9/5. So you swing with this last, you know. So if you get multiple off of the Twin Drives, or, you know, off of other characters, she gets even bigger. So really cool. At level 1, she can hit some very nice numbers. Next, we have 3 copies of this 1/1 2k backup Sitting by a Small Fire. When you use the backup, if all of your characters are Quints, you can put the top card of your deck into your stock, so it pays for itself. Another really good choice, another really good card to be able to add off of the choice triggers. Or once again, you can just toss it into stock, because you do need to pay a decent little chunk of stock to get the level 3 Ichikas out. But since her combo doesn't require stock, you don't need, but you just need a little bit extra. So being able to trigger the choice triggers and get a couple extra cards, or some of your level 2s and whatnot, or this backup into your stock to pay for those, and then you just search for whatever the hell you need off the level 3 combo. So it's just a nice little thing to do. So lastly, to round out the ones, we have 4 copies of Overflowing Charm Ichika. It's a 1/0/45. During your turn, if all of your characters have Ichika in their name, this gains 2k power, and the Twin Drive ability. On attack, pay a stock, perform trigger check twice. Just really cool. And like I said, I was trying to like maximize on as much twin drive as I possibly could. There are some other level zeros I could have put in here, but I just kind of chose not to. But then we get to the level zeros, and there's several really good level zeros that came out recently. I'm trying to do a little mix of a couple different things depending on what is needed. But obviously, you have to have 4 copies of this Pure Wish Ichika. So 002K. At the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you may move this card to the open middle position of your center stage, and when this card becomes reversed in battle, you may reveal up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. If you reveal 1 or more cards, choose 1 card with Ichika in its card name. Amongst those cards, put it into your hand, put the rest into your waiting room, and then discard 1 card. So it just grabs an Ichika for free. You filter out what you need. You want to run a playset of this so that you can keep 1 in hand to be able to clock at level 2 and be able to fulfill the early play condition for this level 3. This one I was not initially running, but this is pretty cool. This is actually really nice. I tossed this in during the last couple games of test playing, and I was like, oh, this actually does make a difference. This is pretty cool. This 0015, relaxing in a Yukata Ichika. When this is placed on stage from hand, if you have another character with Ichika, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Put them on top of your deck in any order. Being able to choose what your triggers are going to be is very nice. And knowing what you're going to trigger and choosing that as well. But that effect also helps with the second one. When this is placed on stage from hand, you can discard 1 card. If you do, reveal the top card of your deck. Choose 1 level X or lower character with Ichika in its card name. In your waiting room, return it to your hand. X is equal to the level of the revealed card. So if it's level 0 or lower, you just grab back an Ichika. So you can, you get to order what cards you're going to trigger. And depending on what your triggers are going to be, if you see, oh, here's a level 3, I'm going to you can do that first, then activate the second effect. You get to choose basically what you're going to be able to search for or grab back from your waiting room off this effect. So that's it's very synergistic within itself. Both effects are good and play off of each other. So that's really cool. Then 3 copies of, and this is, I'm going to say this is on the pick 1 of 3 ban list or restricted list for quintuplets. So we can't use the important charm event, but I wasn't running it to begin with. I didn't really care. This 00500, dozing off Ichika. 2 effects, act, pay 1, and sack this card. Look up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose a quince amongst them, reveal it to your opponent, add it to your hand. Put the rest into your waiting room, and it has a brainstormer of pay 1, tap 2 characters, mill 5. For every climax revealed, search your deck for an Ichika and add it to hand. This lets you mill so much. The mill 5 is just too good not to have, so I'm like, yeah, fuck it. We will forego the event to be able to run this brainstormer. It's just too fucking good not to. This next one is one I didn't realize was as good as it was in the movie set. Flowers of Gratitude Ichika. It's a 00500. First off, it's a level 0 reverser, really good, and when this card is put into your waiting room from your stage, you can pay 1 and put a Ichika from your waiting room to the bottom of your clock, which you can put itself, so there you go. If you do, look up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, choose a character with Ichika in its card name, add it to your hand, put the rest into your waiting room, then you can draw 1 card and discard a card. So you get a lot of filtering and value off of this. You get to dig up to 5 cards deep to be able to really try to find the cards that you need. Any Ichika add to hand, it's just really good overall. And then, like I said, the filtering is also very nice as well. Being able to draw 1 and then pitch 1 just lets you fix and kind of choose what you want in your hand at a time. Just really good. I feel as a mandatory 4 copies. Then we got 1 copy of Secretly Making an Effort Ichika. It's a 002K. On play, you can choose a card in your hand and put it into your stock. If you need a little bit extra stock, really nice. But the main thing you're going to use this for is when this is placed on stage from hand, you can pay 1, pitch a climax, and if you do, choose a climax in your waiting room, return it to your hand. It feels a little bit extra, but just in case you aren't able to get this Ichika to grab the particular choice trigger that you want, or you don't have the stock necessary to do so, this is a much cheaper stock cost. Plus, honestly, you can pay the stock from your hand. You just basically pay for itself. So I wanted to include a copy of this just because. And then lastly is 2 copies of Drawing Back Ichika. This is from the very first set. I don't feel a lot of people run this because it only works with Ichika cards, but it's a buffing card. All of your characters with Ichika get a global 500 power. At the beginning of your climax phase, you can choose up to 2 of your characters with Ichika, and they get an additional 500 power till end of turn. That little bit extra buffing helps more often than you think. And I probably could drop this down to like 1 copy or something to run more of this top checker effect, but this felt much better overall in terms of consistency and everything, so I very much like this. And then obviously 4 copies of Intensifying Love and 4 copies of Bold Answer Checking Method and 8 choice triggers. Really fun deck. Ichika Waifu. Really, you can't go wrong with this one. We do have more Quintuplets decks on the way, but this is obviously one of my favorites of all time. Gonna keep trying to tweak this and trying to see if there's any other changes that can be made, but for the most part, this seems to do pretty damn well. Now let's talk price points. Like I said at the beginning of the video, we're not running the super fucking expensive at the level 3 early play healer. We got healers. We don't really need the early play heal. It's whatever. Plus, you're going to be trying to like compress by grabbing multiple cards from the deck. You should be able to compress and get better cancels that way anyway. But the overall price point of this deck is actually very good. At the time of recording this, I was able to get about 60 cards into 1 cart on TCG Player, and it was about $23 and some change. After tax was probably like $25-ish for this entire deck. This level 3 in particular was like 5 cents. It's like, what the fuck? And even this, I thought the Pure Wish was going to cost more, because I think at one time it was like $1 a piece. It's also very cheap. It was only like 5 or 6 cents a piece as well. So I'm like, hell, that's great. I picked mine up like a long while back, so it doesn't matter. But both of the combo pieces you need for your engine are very cheap. Even the level 3 finisher is only like $1 a piece or so. If that, it might have gone down by the time you're watching this video. So it's just a lot of really good cards that span across all of the quintuplet sets, because you do have stuff from the first set, obviously the second set, and then the movie set as well. It pulls from all of them and makes a very, very fun overall package for what I feel is a very good price point, and I can't, say how happy I am because of that. So, thank y'all very much for watching. It is greatly appreciated. Please like and subscribe. If not, hey, thanks for stopping by to check it out. We do have more quintuplets on the way, and we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.